Ну что ж, уважаемые участники, пожалуйста, занимайте места, и мы начинаем.
Dear participants, please take your seats. So we begin. Good afternoon, dear participants of the international session on cooperation in the Arctic. This event is organized by the government of the Murmansk region with the support of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation and the International Barents Secretariat. And this is taking place within Russia's chairmanship in the Arctic Council in 2021-2023, and this is our traditional meeting. We meet here for the fourth time, bringing together representatives of the authorities and business and the public to discuss cooperation in the Arctic. So we will discuss how to improve the quality of life of people in the Barents region, and we'll also share experiences in developing cities in the Arctic. This session is taken in a hybrid format, and we're very pleased to see some people in person, but some people will be connecting via a video link, and also some technical information for those who are connecting via Zoom. Please make sure you select your language. So if you're speaking Russian, select Russian, or English if you're going to be speaking English. And for those who are in the room, please make sure that you use the headsets for simultaneous interpretation. And also we'll have some short videos and presentations, and we may have some small pauses in between because this is quite a challenging event to organize from the technical standpoint. And I pass the floor to Governor of the Murmansk region, Andrei Chibis. Dear friends, first of all, I'm happy to welcome everyone. The COVID situation is still there, but compared to last year, we finally can afford ourselves at least some part of face-to-face communication. So even though we're in a hybrid format, we can talk to people who are both in the room and who are connecting remotely. So because personal meetings are important, because this is informal communication, and the Arctic is one of the key international issues, and for the Murmansk region as flagship of Arctic development, anything that concerns the Arctic agenda, that is a priority for us, and we have a very clear understanding that each country, and the Russian Federation is no exception. So when we talk about the Arctic and make decisions concerning the Arctic, they are taken with the interests of the country in mind, but it will be more difficult for us to make some joint decision without collaboration. And so our main task is to make sure that the number of people who are involved in Arctic projects or who live in the Arctic would not reduce, but rather increase. And this is a challenge that all Arctic countries face. So we need to create good conditions for the people to stay in the Arctic and to live in the Arctic. So in that sense, we certainly have a common agenda. We need to find common solutions for the Arctic to develop, to continue to give the world and the planet what it's providing now, and so that we develop the Arctic in a friendly manner, talking to each other. So I wish all of us a very successful discussion today. We have a very tight agenda. We will be very interested to listen to our international partners, and the pandemic has given us a new format of communication, and I have regular meetings with Barents governors where we discuss challenges of today. So this hybrid format allows us to expand our opportunities for communication, and I would like to thank those who are present here in person and finding the time to be here. Thank you very much, Governor Chibis. Let us move on to the Ministry for the Development of the Far East and the Arctic of the Russian Federation, and we will give the floor Marat Shamyunov, Deputy Minister. Mr. Shamyunov, we are greeting you from Murmansk. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, dear participants of this session on cooperation in the Arctic. We should note that last year, Russia's President Vladimir Putin approved the strategy for the development of the Russian Arctic zone, which sets forth the tasks and indicators and targets for the coming 15 years. The strategy aims to develop the Arctic zone in a comprehensive manner, and special attention is given to strengthening of international cooperation. So Russia's fundamental policy towards Arctic development are adopted for the period until 2035 is a key strategic planning document for Russia's national security. So the following four main goals could be identified. First of all, it's collaboration, economic and humanitarian collaboration with foreign partners. Second is increasing the efforts of the Arctic states to establish a unified search and rescue and emergency preparedness system of all Arctic states. Thirdly, it's strengthening the ties between the indigenous peoples and their youth. And number four is the development and the implementation of educational programs for the development of the Arctic region together with international partners. We should also note that the Arctic Council plays a key role in coordination of these activities between the member states, and we intend to strengthen the forum within Russia's chairmanship. I should note that Russia's chairmanship in the Arctic is taking place under the motto responsible management for sustainable Arctic, and Russia intends to work on in four priority areas. That is the people of the Arctic that Governor Chibis already mentioned. And in that, of course, a lot of attention will be paid to indigenous peoples of the North. That is the protection of the Arctic environment, including climate change. That is social and economic development of Russian Arctic regions, and the strengthening of the Arctic Council as the main arena of intergovernmental cooperation at high latitudes. I should also note that Russia's chairmanship plan has 116 events that will take place in 11 Russian regions, and various activities are planned. It's congresses, summits, Arctic skills events. So there is a lot of work ahead of us. I should also note that in order to strengthen the relationships, including the economic relationships, world's largest preferential treatment zone has been established with of 5 million square kilometers with a large number of tax incentives, and this offers new opportunities for business. So there's legislation to support that. In conclusion, I would like to say that we are open for dialogue, and we invite foreign partners to the implementation of investment projects in the Russian Arctic zone. So on behalf of the Ministry for the Far East and the Arctic, we would like to wish you success in today's session. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Shamyunov, for giving us the set of targets that the federal government is setting. And now we will pass the floor to Sergei Konstantin Kosachev, Deputy Chair of the Federation Council.
Уважаемые участники сессии,
Dear participants
Dear friends, first of all, I would like to express my gratitude to the organizers of the event, to the governor of the Murmansk region for this opportunity to address you by using these new technological channels. And this topic of technology is of no coincidence. They allowed us, so to say, to rediscover the Arctic. Civilian nuclear technologies, digitalization, best icebreaker fleet in the world. Not only they make the resources of the Arctic available, but most importantly, they improve the quality of life of those who live in the North. Some time ago, the Federation Council adopted a regulation on the development of the area of the Russian Arctic, in which we recommended to the government to comply a draft bill on detection and clearing of sites that are harmful to the environment. Moreover, we advised to consider creating the federal centers for the Arctic medicine and other topics crucial for the lives of the northern people. And the northern people are extremely valuable to us. Those who live here, the 1.7% of the overall population of the country, make up for more than 20% of the Russian export. The Arctic today is on the crossroads of worldwide processes. By considering the situation in the northern hemisphere and in the Russian north, we can clearly see how global climate is changing. The competition between the key players in the Arctic, including the non-Arctic ones, is becoming more and more evident. And taking into consideration the beginning of Russian chairmanship in the Arctic Council, I see our mission in saving the unique northern format of cooperation, which has been achieved historically, I would say, in the Arctic. And this is the main goal of the Russian chairmanship in the Arctic Council in 2021-2023. It involves more than 100 events, the central of which is the International Arctic Forum in St. Petersburg in April 2022. I wish all the participants of the 4th International Session productive work, and so that it would be in the spirit of unique Northern understanding and brotherhood, which have traditionally been a feature of Russian efforts in the North. The Arctic is the region of peace, cooperation, and our common goal is to keep it this way for the generations to come. Thank you, Konstantin. And I think those were the right words. I think anyone can relate to them, including those watching it on YouTube. And now I would like to present Konstantin Dolgov, Deputy Chairman of the Committee on Economic Policy of the Federation Council of the Federal Assembly of the Russian Federation. Dear participants, I would like to join you and to say that these words were very important, addressed to you, to this conference, and it is very important. I agree with the governor, Andrei Chibis, that the format of international cooperation in the Arctic to continue so that they wouldn't be paused. It is very important for them to develop, and the dialogue between us develops just as well. We have new opportunities, new channels, digital technologies that we possess. And I would like, on my part, to say that the Arctic today is, provides with a wide range of opportunities for international cooperation. As it has already been pointed out, such aspects as economy were mentioned, and I need to say that the whole Arctic Russian area is a special zone in terms of economy, and I'm glad to say that Murmansk region is developing the territory of special territory, which is unique for the Arctic region. And there are plenty of residents there. More than 200 billions are involved for the projects that involve implementation of different processes and the development of the Arctic itself. There are many elements that are meant to improve the lives of the people of the North in all the countries of the Arctic area. And well, I can go on and go on with these directions, with these fields, but there are also alternative energy sources, of course. And in this regard, we have, once again, a very wide range of opportunities to continue with hydrogen technologies. And we actually have a real project that has already begun its implementation. Of course, there are issues of LNG, the development of infrastructure, the Northern Sea route, and by 2024, 80 billion tons of shipments are to be made along the Northern Sea route. So it becomes one of the most important worldwide routes, I would even say. And the interaction is very much welcomed here. And we, on our part, want to help with that on the part of Federation Council and Federal Assembly. And of course, there are also matters of environmental protection. And it's not only about developing non-carbon technologies, but seeing it from many different perspectives. And the Arctic countries, in this case, are supposed to influence the changing world. And one other field I would like to highlight is the humanitarian field. It's the contacts between the people. And the governor has already mentioned that the restrictions are still there. They're present. But we are developing all the channels for communication. And we're sure that personal contacts, interpersonal contacts, are greatly appreciated, and we hope that we will return back to normal, so to say. And such an important field that we pay much attention to in Murmansk region and in the Arctic overall is the development of tourism and developing infrastructure for the international community. And well, such landscapes, well, the beauty of it all is special. So the development of tourism is to be considered by all the parties in the Arctic region. It is important for the international parties. And thanks to international projects, both private and governmental, we can move forward. And I think we have the opportunities. And it is good that all the priorities are mentioned in the program of the Russian chairmanship in the Arctic Council. And I hope that during this discussion, these topics will be, well, expanded upon. And as I have said, it is important not only for Murmansk, but for the Arctic to live in the north, as we say.
Yes, it is indeed to live in the north. And now we have on the line Rune Røsland, Norway's ambassador to Russia. Thank you and good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen, friends of the Arctic and of the Barents region. I'm very happy to have this opportunity to participate in the 4th international session on the cooperation in the Arctic. First, I would like to thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia and Governor Chibis for the organization of this conference and for the opportunity to connect via video link. As it's known, Norway pays a lot of attention to the cooperation in the Arctic, especially to the cooperation within the Barents Euro-Arctic Council and the Arctic Council. Northern regions are a priority for Norway's foreign policy. The Barents cooperation mainly is mainly about good neighborly relations and building of contacts and confidence and cooperation across borders, close cross-border contacts and wide cooperation are very valuable, not only for the people who live in the region, but also for the capitals. The main meeting point for the Arctic countries to discuss common challenges and in the Arctic is the Arctic Council. And it's no coincidence that the Arctic is the region of peace, stability, and international cooperation. And this is a result of a successful 25-year-long cooperation. And our common task is to make sure to facilitate that this situation continues in the future. The rate of climate change in the Arctic is concerning, and the impacts of these changes may be very, very serious for the people of the region. No one country can solve the problems of the Arctic on its own. So it's a common interest and responsibility of the Arctic states to tackle these challenges together. This is one of the many reasons why it is so important to have an international dialogue about the Arctic. I would like to thank the Russian side once again for inviting us to discuss these important issues. I wish all of us a good and successful conference. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Resalant. And now we have on the line Antti Helanterä, Finland's ambassador to the Russian Federation.
Уважаемые министры,
Dear ministers, dear governor, colleagues,
благодарю за предоставленную
I thank you for giving me a chance to be here on the 4th International Session in Murmansk on cooperation in the Arctic.
Финляндия приняла председательство Совета.
Finland took over the chairmanship of the Barents Euro-Arctic Council from Norway. The achievements of successful Norwegian chairmanship will be the beacon for the Finnish chairmanship. Over the next 2 years, Finland will concentrate on 3 main aspects: environment, youth, and transport. I'm glad our period of chairmanship coincides with the period of chairmanship of Russia in the Arctic Council. There are many possibilities for cooperation during our periods of chairmanship. Taking into consideration the features of our region, the transborder cooperation is crucial. The Barents region has many advantages, such as unique culture and nature, which we must carefully foster. However, sustainable development and contribution to the state of the region require immediate actions. Reinforcing biodiversity, safeguarding the rights of the indigenous peoples and native population, as well as means of mitigation of consequences of climate change, they are all pivotal for our cooperation. Electrification of vehicles, modernizing transport communication require joint investments and innovative solutions. Regions play a major role in the interaction between people. The youth are given a special role in reinforcing mutual understanding between people. The youth are a key to the future of the Barents region, its preservation and development.
на скорое открытие
I
границ
hope for the borders to open soon so that it will allow people to move and new contacts to be established.
председательства
I hope
России
our cooperation during the chairmanship of Russia in the Arctic Council and Finland in the Barents Euro-Arctic region will be fruitful.
председательства
The agendas of our chairmanships are similar.
замкнутого цикла
They include circular economy, sustainable waste management, and reduction of black carbon emissions. It is important for us to use various platforms for cooperation to reinforce our activity. I wish you all a meaningful dialogue and a successful meeting. Thank you very much. And now it is finally time to continue with Malena Mart, the ambassador of the Kingdom of Sweden in Russia.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to be part of this. And I must say personally, now I'm sitting here in Moscow, but I miss Murmansk in a way because I visited it many times when I served at the Consulate General in St. Petersburg. And of course, being in the north is something special. So I send special greetings to Murmansk.
I think much good has been
the
said,
governor.
and I think one thing to also take with us is that we should be proud of our achievements, both when it comes to Arctic cooperation and through the Arctic Council. Our cooperation has been based on international law and has contributed to peace and stability. So I think we should take that with us. We should be proud of our achievements, but we're also looking for the future. And of course, as has been mentioned, Arctic is the region most affected by global warming. And the latest reports warn that the Arctic is warming 3 times faster than the global average. This we need to take very seriously. And I know this is on the top of the agenda for many of the discussions that we are having together, and rightly so. I just want to also point out that I think we also discuss much solutions together. And one of them is, of course, to see also how we can draw upon our business and industry, which has an important role to play in this regard. Let me point out that in the Swedish Arctic, we have the Hybrid initiative, which is about fossil-free steel making. And also another major project is the Northvolt, setting up Europe's largest and most advanced battery factory in the north of Sweden. And this contributes to the needed electrification of the transport sector. So I think we all, from our different countries and angles, also have good solutions, not least drawing on our business and industry. But we also see that the scope of the Arctic Council's agenda is growing, and we want a strong council. And this should be equipped with the right instruments to deal with the challenges ahead. As already pointed out, I think we have a number of strong partnerships to build on, and I can only concur that youth, indigenous people, science and culture are very much backbones of our cooperation, and want to wish everybody a very good conference today and a continued partnership in the Arctic. Спасибо вам большое.
Спасибо большое, госпожа Март.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Mart. Well, you know, we'll be very happy to see you in Murmansk any time of the year, especially now when it's just a little cold and lots of snow. So please do come. I will. So next on the line is Michael Mann, EU Special Envoy for Arctic Matters.
Thank you very much indeed, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased and very honoured to be asked to deliver some remarks here today. Over the years, this conference has demonstrated its importance as an international platform to exchange views on issues which are essential for the entire Arctic region. And with the pace of change in the Arctic at the moment, these discussions are now taking on even more urgency. As we all know, and as the previous speakers have underlined, the Arctic regions are particularly seriously affected by the effects of climate change. They're heating up 3 times faster than the global average. And this is having huge negative knock-on effects across the globe, with rising sea levels and changing weather patterns. It also, of course, further accelerates global warming as methane is released from the melting ice. At the same time, these transformations have increased international interest in the Arctic as access to resources and transport routes becomes easier. So faced with this combination of challenges and opportunities, it's more important than ever that the international community works together to find common solutions. In this context, it's of course important to take into account the interests of Arctic inhabitants, and not least the indigenous peoples who have lived there for centuries or longer. Fortunately, there is positive experience to build on. Over recent decades, the Arctic regions have been an example of what can be achieved when all parties have a mutual interest in fruitful cooperation. The Arctic governance framework has been a success, whether it be the Arctic Council, the Barents Euro-Arctic Council, or the Northern Dimension policy framework, under which the EU, Russia, Norway, and Iceland work together on the environment, transport, health, and on culture. The EU sees scope to build on this good cooperation in the future in a number of areas. And one particular issue of importance to us all is the thawing of permafrost. We must work together to gather facts on permafrost thaw and research ways of slowing it down and adapting to the challenges it brings. Indeed, in our updated policy, which was adopted just over a month ago, the EU underlines the need to enhance international Arctic cooperation and to mainstream the Arctic in our discussions with our partners. What happens in the Arctic matters to the entire planet. In that spirit, I wish you well for our successful conference today. Thanks very much.
Спасибо большое, господин Ман. Ну и завершает приветственные речи.
Thank you.
And now Tor Sigurdsson is to conclude the introductory remarks, the ambassador of the Republic of Iceland in the Russian Federation. Good morning.
Distinguished participants, dear guests, good afternoon, Murmansk. Allow me at the outset to extend my thanks to the host for inviting me to address this conference, and I'm very happy to be with you today. The Arctic has been a key foreign policy priority for Iceland for a decade. It is important to all of us that it remains a region of peace, stability, and constructive international cooperation. Iceland had the honor of chairing the Arctic Council for the last 2 years and handed over the chairmanship to Russia at the ministerial meeting in Reykjavik in May. During our chairmanship, we emphasized sustainable development in the region, with the chairmanship slogan being "Together towards a sustainable Arctic." I will outline the Icelandic chairmanship priorities and its achievements in section 1. But as an introductory comment, I would like to emphasize that the changing climate and the resulting opening up of sea routes, easier access to natural resources, and possible security threats resulting from increased traffic in the area pose new challenges and make it increasingly important to ensure that the Arctic remains a low-tension area. In fact, the Arctic offers an example of how very different nations can work together within internationally accepted legal frameworks, coming together in order to find common ground in an area of strategic importance and seek to strengthen consultative and cooperative mechanisms. We look forward to the continued work within the Arctic Council under Russia's chairmanship, and we wish you every success in that important assignment. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Sigurdsson. we've heard all welcoming remarks. Now we will move on to section 1, International Arctic Agenda, challenges and opportunities. We will talk about problems and prospects for the Arctic zone. And the first to speak will be Governor of the Murmansk region, Andrei Chibis. Thank you very much. Please run my presentation. I already mentioned at the beginning, and as I said, our main premise is that the people who are the most important in the Arctic, and it goes for all territories. But in this harsh climate, we need to create conditions for the people to live, and that is our key task. So our basic premise is that we have to ask the people what they need, what they are concerned about. So in 2019, we had a very large-scale polling of the people of the Murmansk region in order to identify what needs to be done for them. This past summer, we repeated this poll, and you can see the number. We received more than 500,000 very specific proposals for the development of various communities in the region. And in this poll, we had 23,000 people. So this was a big analytical effort in order to understand what people told us. So among the key challenges that we face and the key needs that the people have is comfortable urban environment, so that the climate does not make people in the Arctic, doesn't make the quality of life in the Arctic much worse than elsewhere. And of course, healthcare is an issue, because given the winter darkness and long winter, it is very important for people to feel secure in terms of their health. And it is also imperative that people have opportunities for their self-realization, so they need to have jobs. We need economic development, because if there is no economy, and then people will not see any prospects, they will not know what the future holds for them. So the economy is very important, and the opportunities for self-realization is also one of our priorities. And education is also an important key area, so that kids in schools, in kindergartens, in professional schools, in universities, we need to make sure that they get the training that will help them build a career. And the world is changing fast. We understand that people who are studying now, they will have to be retrained in the course of their lives for many times in order to be successful. But we need to create conditions for the education for the people to be able to find an application for themselves within the Arctic. So this is where we are putting our efforts now. And another important aspect for the Murmansk region is the quality and availability of housing. This economic growth is provoking an increased demand for housing, and it has an impact on housing prices, both to buy or to rent. So this an important challenge for us is restarting housing construction in the Arctic. And as for even at the backdrop of this pandemic year, and the pandemic still continues, but 2020 one of the most difficult years, because this is a completely new challenge. We all learned to live in the pandemic, and as Deputy Minister for the Far East and the Arctic said, together with the federal government, we managed to get a unique decision, which is, and that is the establishment of world's largest free economic zone, and the unique preferences that entrepreneurs and investors, business people get when they become residents of the Arctic zone are quite unique in the world. And we're not only talking about large companies, large plants or corporations. An investor who is ready to put forward 1 million rubles in their project is eligible to become a resident of the Arctic zone. So these are new, unique opportunities for the development of a small individual project. And the Murmansk region has become and continues to be a leader in both the number of Arctic zone residents and the volume of investment that these residents are putting forward. We have 92 residents and 123 billion worth of investments within the projects that they are declared. And this is not just a declaration of intention. About 10% of declared investment has already been invested in the economy of the Murmansk region, even though this special regime has only been there for about a year. And there'll be more projects within the Arctic zone. And another important project for us is the only priority development area in the Russian Arctic that is it's called the Arctic Capital, and we thank our colleagues in the federal government. On the 12th of May, in the peak of the pandemic, we got this unique decision for the establishment of this priority development area, capital of the Arctic. And what's important is that the number of projects is increasing. There are now 9 residents there. And as a rule, these are large businesses. And just within this regime, we will have 103 billion rubles worth of investment and 4,800 jobs. An anchor project for this zone is the plant for the construction of plants for liquefied natural gas. We are also talking about a mineral fertilizer terminal. So that's a logistics project. We are also expecting the port of Lavna to become a resident of this zone. And it's important that we have this. On the one hand, we have the Arctic zone, and then on the other hand, we have this priority development area. They offer more opportunities for the development of business in the Murmansk region. And in 2020, we also made a decision. And first of all, this was a decision to support our small and medium-sized businesses in challenging times. So we passed a regional law quite quickly, and I would like to thank our regional legislators for that. So we drastically reduced the tax burden on small and medium-sized businesses for 3 years. And now we have made a decision to extend this preferential treatment for small and medium-sized businesses for another 3 years in order to ensure the stability of development for small businesses or individual entrepreneurs, given the higher costs that our entrepreneurs have. These are increased social contributions that are related to providing paid holidays for the people. I'll just remind you that employers are obligated to pay travel expenses for their employees and their family members once every 2 years. So by and large, we have now established really unique environment for the development of your business and large projects in our region. But the key potential, in addition to the resources that mineral resources that we have in the Kola Peninsula, so it's a well-known statement by scientists that the Kola Peninsula holds the entire Mendeleev stable. So we have unique minerals here, but one of the key competitive advantages of the region is the northern sea route, and Murmansk is a strategic ice-free port in the country's north, and it's a gateway to the Arctic and to the northern sea route. And so we have a project called Murmansk Transport Hub in order to transform this ice-free port into an international logistics hub, and to include the new ports that we are embarking on. So we already started building one, and we will start building another next year, and also the railway that is being built to the other side of the Kola Bay that will drastically increase the transshipment potential of our harbor. And talking about the quality of life, we are not just talking about logistical projects or some large-scale projects. From the 1st of August this year, with the support of the federal government, we launched an Arctic Hectare program, and it means that until the 1st of February, residents of the Murmansk region, and after the 1st of February, all Russian nationals will be able to get a hectare of land for free in order to build their business. So this is additional motivation for self-realization in the north. This program is implemented in all Arctic regions, not just in the Murmansk region, but in terms of demand for these hectares, we are the leaders. We've had more than 3,000 applications already. But the idea is not just to give people a hectare of land and they won't know what to do with it. But we are also developing such a heat map where the demand for this Arctic hectare is the largest, so that we can provide these areas with energy, build roads, and we are also very active in funding these small and medium-sized projects through government support measures. And next year, we are launching a program called Your Own Home in the Arctic. So when we will give 1 million rubles to people of certain categories to build their own home in the Arctic. We've already allocated money for this program, and the regional budget is now being discussed in the regional Duma, and we're going to have to submit a new law to the Duma that will set forth the parameters for those who will be eligible to apply for this program. So we're talking about teachers. So we're also talking about the professions that are in high demand in the regional economy. So one of the key challenges You know, we heard a lot in the introductory remarks about Russia's chairmanship priorities, and that we make a focus on international cooperation, and with the focus on comfortable living conditions for our people in the Arctic. We already heard about the indigenous peoples today. We have a very active dialogue with our indigenous population, the Sami, who are also represented in this room. And it's important to give them opportunities to preserve their culture and traditions, or to promote their traditions and cultures. We also make a special focus on the economy, which I already mentioned, and of course the environment. Over the last few years, we have radically reduced emissions with our industrial partners. I'd say it has been a radical reduction. And I will just give you an example. Nornickel, in the end of last year, thanks to an agreement that we signed and thanks to a special investment contract on the regional level, stopped the operation of their smelter in the settlement of nickel. And this was not an easy decision, because in order to prepare this stoppage, there's been a lot of effort put to talk to the people who work there and their families. So, but nevertheless, we decided to go for it in order to drastically reduce emissions, because this smelter had been in operation since 1930s, and we also closed a polluting facility in Monchegorsk and reduced sulfur dioxide emissions by 80%. Now, another project is ongoing in Monchegorsk to build a new environmentally friendly metallurgical plant that will provide both new high-tech jobs, and it's enormous investment, which is comparable to Novatek's initial investment in its plant. And it's also possibilities for the self-realization for the young people. And also we are working with Fosagro, which produces world's cleanest fertilizers, thanks to the deposits in Kibini. We are also having a partnership with them, and they are active participants in ensuring environmental safety in the Arctic zone. One more subject is ecotourism. This economic sector is growing very fast, but it's also important for us to preserve the fragile Arctic nature. And we also focus a lot on international cooperation on very acute subjects. So, as I said, during the pandemic, we were able to establish this new platform of collaboration, because we learn from each other. We see what measures are taken in this or that region in order to preserve the economy. And so this active dialogue helps us to develop the Arctic altogether. There's still a lot of challenges, but the main challenge is the people, is the human capital, for which we need to create all necessary conditions, because we will not be able to implement any of these large projects in the Arctic without the people.
Я думаю, что вот эти
Thank you for such an elaborate speech, and the facts you have mentioned speak for themselves about how the job is being done in the region. Those are just not statistics. Behind these numbers is the person that lives in the north, the person that has their own family, their business, And now we talk about the chairmanship of the Russian Federation for the upcoming 2 years. And we are interested in the experience of our colleagues. And now it comes to the chairmanship of the Republic of Iceland in the Council. 2021, 2023, and now we have Ornithur Sigurdsson, the ambassador of the Republic of Iceland. Dear colleagues, dear moderator, I would like to say a few words about the program of the chairmanship of Iceland and our achievements. For Iceland, the chairmanship has been both captivating and difficult, because we had to solve problems and deal with environmental challenges throughout the period of 2019-2021. And it was one of the problems was the rise of sea levels and changes in biodiversity of the region. But luckily, with difficulties came new opportunities. The foundation of new sea routes and availability of natural resources. Considering the main priorities of the chairmanship of the Republic of Iceland, a marine environment of the Arctic is a natural priority for Iceland. And during the chairmanship period, Iceland paid great attention to the contamination of the Arctic with plastic. It promoted new methods for improving marine resources and enforced a cooperation in the marine field and enforced sustainable shipping in the Arctic. Climate and green energy in the Arctic were also priorities for us. Under the chairmanship of Iceland, the Arctic Council continued to monitor the impact of climate on ground and freshwater ecosystems in the Arctic. The Council encouraged the appliance of green energy in the Arctic region. The population of the Arctic, and there live about 4 million people. Considering that northern communities face challenges and unexpected consequences of climate change, chairmanship of Iceland made it possible to reinforce the adaptation of people. So one of the elements that was extremely important is the sustainable development. Also, a chairmanship of Iceland paid great attention to gender equality. And one of the main consequences of the meeting of ministers in Reykjavik was the implementation of the new strategy plan. This new addition was a great means to commemorate the 25th anniversary of our cooperation. And we have mentioned various programs and incentives of the Arctic countries. And we asked them about their opinion on how the Arctic region should look by 2030. And we have in our framework, we had the goals and the means to achieve them. In our plan, we have discussed both plans and difficulties in the region, those that are crucial under the circumstances of climate change. And now it has become possible for us to give many possibilities to the chairmanship of the Council, so that the Arctic would become a pleasant region for everyone. We are proud that we let Russia take over such important responsibilities. And we hope that we will continue working with Russia as of now, and then with Norway, of course. Once again, I would like to say thank you to the organizers, and I wish all of us and the Arctic Council as well the best. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much, Mr. Sigurdsson. And thank you for giving this historical information about the chairmanship of the Republic of Iceland. And now Russia took over, and we have listened to many facts and statistics from such chairmanship. And 2022 and 2023 is the, let's call it, the area of responsibility of the Russian Federation. And now we have Nikolai Korchunov, who is an ambassador of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia. And please, Nikolai, we are glad to welcome you from Murmansk. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, participants. And half a year has passed since Russia took over the chairmanship in the Arctic Council, and we have already conducted various events, including those in the Murmansk region. And our top priority is the sustainable development in the region, for it to be balanced economically and socially, so all the components present, considering the rapid change of climate in the Arctic. We think about lessening the impact of climate change and adaptation to climate change, and also providing the resistance to climate change. So it is about the consequences. And we also need to maintain the healthy ecosystems, including a marine ecosystem and diversity overall. All of these issues and matters have been discussed in our work groups, and more than 100 projects and incentives took place. I would also like to point out that when we speak about the Arctic, it is important not only to see the vulnerabilities of the region, but also consider the increasing level of influence of the Arctic, thanks to its energy resources, its transport communication. So it plays a great role in the worldwide economy, following the goals and targets of the agreement of 2015. We continue working on implementing innovative saving technologies in transport, in industry and infrastructure, energy fields, and including the renewable energy sources. One of the key conditions for the prosperity of the Murmansk region is its sustainable development, once again, and our chairmanship considers and thinks about promoting international cooperation. Well, it also supports the youth, transport communication, including marine shipping, and we think about the conditions for innovators and for the financial part for businesses. And we need to work in all these directions. We need to think of it as of a complex issue. I should also point out that the potential of the Arctic region is not really limited by the Arctic resources and the sea routes. I think that its main value is human capital, and as the governor has already said, we need, well, this work towards improving the life of people of the Arctic, including indigenous peoples, is one of the main aspects for the Arctic Council. So we pay great attention to the activities aimed at sustainability and prosperity of promotion of the indigenous peoples, their adaptation to climate change, increasing their quality of life, providing education to them. So everyone living in the north. And for us, it seems it's very difficult to achieve such a result without thinking of economy, including transport. So it is about the overall development. One of the main points of our agenda is cultural and educational exchanges. We work towards preserving linguistic and cultural legacy of the indigenous peoples. And Russian chairmanship will continue to increase efficiency of bodies of the Arctic Council for immediate response to the needs of the region. We will develop mechanisms of sustainable financing, and we will continue with improving the condition. We will work with the youth and other partners in the framework of sustainable development. We think it is important to implement the strategy plan of the Arctic Council that was approved this year in Reykjavik, and we aim at working with the Council, with the Forum of Coast Guard and other related bodies. We hope that there will be synergy between the organizations, and the Barents Euro-Arctic region, I think, is one of the most well-developed parts of the Arctic. It is one of the main drivers for the countries, not only Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Russia, but everyone involved in the Arctic. Everyone shows responsibility for the development of our common region. The prosperity of people is important, but it depends on the competitiveness of the region in Europe and worldwide. How this region will be a part of the global context. So it is important to think about the idea of increasing efficiency of economical projects and intellectual aspects, technological aspects. And we can be leaders because we have the necessary conditions. And I hope that the international session of this conference will play a major part in the development of the Arctic relationships and the Arctic as a whole. So thank you very much. And I think that everyone here and those connected to us via Zoom, we all understand that we live not only by our past, not only looking at our experience, but we look to the future. And now I think it will be interesting, a presentation about the plans of the Kingdom of Norway and about their chairmanship in 2023-2025. Now we have Rune Rissalon that will give us a presentation. So hello.
Just quite recently, our two-year chairmanship in the Barents Council ended, where a special focus was made on topics like healthcare, knowledge, and people-to-people cooperation in the north. I would like to thank Russia for the support and cooperation during the Norwegian chairmanship. Russia has put forward an ambitious Arctic Council chairmanship program. Four main priorities of Russia are well aligned with Norway's priorities. Norway will support the Russian chairmanship and will have close contacts with the Russian side and try to participate in all events and activities where possible. Close contacts and dialogue with the Russian chairmanship are important also because in 2023, Norway will take over the chairmanship in the Arctic Council from Russia. The preparation for the Norwegian chairmanship is already ongoing. We intend to have wide and inclusive consultations with all Norwegian stakeholders, indigenous peoples, business circles, academia, as well as regional and municipal authorities in the north. And Norway's High North policy remains unchanged. The main priorities are for Norway's involvement in the Arctic Council is the ocean, climate, environment, as well as sustainable development. The ocean is the basis for value creation in the north. For many hundreds of years, the ocean has provided the people of the region with food and jobs. Our fisheries, oil and gas, as well as shipping, make a significant contribution to national economy. Norway would like to facilitate knowledge generation and study of seabed at high latitudes together with other Arctic states. We would also like to continue developing bilateral cooperation with Russia in the north, with a special focus on topics like ocean resources, climate, and Barents and Arctic Ocean coastline. The warming in the Arctic is of great concern, as I already mentioned. Here, it is somewhat faster than on average in the world, and therefore we need to take urgent measures to reduce global emissions. And northern economy needs human resources that have appropriate knowledge and competences. People who live and raise children in the Arctic, they deserve to live in a modern and stable society, and we must make sure or must take care so that they remain in the region. We would like to stop the outflow of people from remote Arctic areas. There is a lot of work ahead of us in order to make the Arctic more attractive for the young people. And therefore, it is very important to strike the right balance between economic growth and protection of the environment. And to do that, we will need best available knowledge and technologies, and we must follow the highest climate and environmental standards. So we had great challenges ahead of us, and we will not be able to tackle them individually. And the Arctic states have special responsibility. We have the best knowledge about the Arctic and its problems, and we need to continue disseminating this knowledge and awareness of the Arctic issues in the entire world. And therefore, we see that one of Russia's priorities of strengthening the Arctic Council is very relevant. Norway fully supports that priority. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Resselant. I would like to ask all speakers who will be connecting both remotely or physically here, we have a time limit of 4 minutes per presentation. And understand that all of you have a lot to say, but please remember of the time limit. Of course, we heard a lot about what's happening now, but it's important for us to talk about the future and to make sure that the young people stay in the north. So it's my pleasure to give the floor to Mikhail Uksusov, Russia's envoy for youth cooperation in the Arctic.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this conference. I represent Nikolai Kovtunov here, the representative of the Arctic Council, and we represent the youth issues. And well, all of the issues of with youth are quite important for us. And it still remains one of the most topical issues. We have the University of the Arctic, we have the SAAMI Youth Council, the Youth Council of the Barents region, the Association of Young Scientists of the Arctic, and so on and so on. So we don't have only the such organizations that stimulate communication between youth, but we also have different foundations, such as Rosmolodezh. And we also have various business accelerators of banks and also international organizations such as the Center for Transborder Cooperation called Arctic. We have grants of Barents Secretariat. We have different programs. So it feels like that the youth think that there are no regions for self-development in the Arctic, but it's not like that. And now that this exodus of the youth is now topical and crucial, because, well, back in the days, the Arctic was built upon the backs of the young people, and the topics of the youth were very important. And it wasn't considered special, but now it is really topical. The first reason for it is that the youth, many of them just leave the region, they leave the north, and it leads to negative consequences. This topic is typical not only for the Arctic area of the Russian Federation, it's an international problem. And in the context of the Arctic, the youth agenda has always been present, but it hasn't been in the center. And in 2019, the representatives of the youth made important arguments on the conference, and now the program about the youth has been modernized and has become one of the main points of the agenda. Well, before the youth program appeared in the plans of the Arctic Council and in the declaration, all the events related to youth were perceived from topics such as indigenous peoples of the North, but Russian chairmanship, well, considering that they approach this inclusive, they have this inclusive approach, they made a special cluster for the youth and a special cluster for the indigenous people. So they needed to make them work together so that both topics would be present and discussed. It allows for better flexibility to implement projects and events, so for them to be multi-clusteral, let's call it that. And Ekaterina Ivai is responsible for the youth agenda for indigenous peoples. And I think that the topic of youth is everywhere. It's not just about activity of volunteers, not about arts and education. It's about business, it's about environmental agenda, infrastructure and urbanization, city planning, science. but it is also about national identity. And I would say it's about preserving it, and also the linguistic aspects of it. So not only is it so multidimensional, it is also topical for the Arctic territories, because well, this depopulation, this exodus is a matter of international importance, because without the youth, without creative young people, the region just loses a tremendous amount of human capital, which will negatively impact not only the creative economy, but the economy of resources, the resource economy, and just as well, environment. So all the things that that make us work together, that bring us together, I think that that's the reason why the Arctic Council was founded in 1996, but it was initiated, please remember, back in the 80s, in the late 80s. And thank you very much. Well, we understand your pain, the pain you mentioned in your speech, and we understand that the future of the Arctic is dependent, and it is a burden for the young people of the Arctic. And now I would like to invite to the stage Polina Kharybina, who is a council member of the Council for the indigenous peoples of the North. And I would like to say thank you for the possibility to have my speech here. And well, I congratulated you in my own language, the Sami language. And we live here in the Arctic zone, so where my people dwell. And considering the law that enforces indigenous peoples and their safeguards their rights, I hope and I think that it has strategic plans. Well, it's planned well. And luckily, the officers of the region help the indigenous peoples with preserving its traditional lifestyle, its agricultural aspects, and developing a unique culture. Enlightenment and matters of education are also made by the government. And we also have the Council of the Indigenous Peoples that consists of 9 representatives of communes, and also representatives from the government, such as the deputy government that curates how the governmental policy is being implemented. And on the meetings of this council, we discuss the most important, the topical issues. And we also have the Sami Council, the so-called Sami Gathering. And it is also regularly conducted. And we also have a work group on the territory of the Murmansk region. I also want to provide an example, actually some examples of our successful cooperation. Luckily, the northern reindeer was included in the Red Book as an endangered animal. And I think it's a good step forward, because it will decrease the mortality among the reindeer, the lethality rate. And also the situation with Ozero, where our people fish. And of course, it's the commemoration of the heroic deed by one of the Sami battalions. And first of all, it's the opening of the monument back in 2020, and now in 2021, on November 20th, it was the anniversary of this Sami battalion, which is also a very important matter for us. Now, in the framework of governmental support of the Sami, there is a redistribution of possible fishing activities among the Sami people. We have additional bonuses, subsidies for the Sami people. Also, there are projects that help with developing the Sami culture, and everyone can take part in them. And also, those who are engaged in traditional activities, our reindeer herders, those who they have a chance to go to health resorts, so they're almost like given tickets to have a good rest, and that's why our herders are very happy about it. So public organizations can also participate in grants, and non-commercial organizations. As an example, in 2020, I was the winner of the Agency for the Youth Issues, and you can learn more about it by following the link for the museum. It will be present. And we have made an exposition of different indigenous peoples, not only Sami, but also Vepsi and other ethnicities. And also a project was won to implement the mobile application project that helps you learn Sami language. It's available both on Android and iOS. And I hope that after this session, more people will be involved in using this app, because we wanted not only to listen to the Sami people, but also learn about the cultural aspects, to learn about their lives. And in 2021, in the framework of the International St. Petersburg Forum, the organization of the Murmansk region, such as Nornickel company, an agreement was signed. In the framework of this agreement, sustainable development was mentioned for the indigenous peoples, and that the government will continue preserving the lifestyle of the indigenous peoples. And we continue this relationship with Nornickel since 2009. Last year, they helped us with constructing the monument. And now we still continue the dialogue, and the cooperation continues. Now I can surely say that the Murmansk region is, well, has this this good relationship between the organizations that represent the indigenous peoples, the government, all the organizations involved, and there is a good chance, there is a good possibility, opportunity to save, to preserve this lifestyle. So thank you, Polina. Thank you for being so unique, so colorful, I would say. And you have mentioned Nornickel, Koilsky Metallurgy Company, and now we have Maxim Ryabushkin, who is the first deputy of the general director and who is the chief engineer of the company. Please, you're welcome to the stage.
Will you start with the presentation or with the video? I would like you to run a short video of the company.
The remarkable properties of our metals continue to find more and more applications in the global economy. Both well-known and newly discovered properties make our metals indispensable. The metals are used in their pure form, as well as in unique alloys and composite materials. Produced through complex industrial conversion, they can protect, bind, preserve, purify, safeguard, and earn a return. Metals are the mainstay in industrial production and everyday life. Our company satisfies a significant proportion of the global demand for base and precious metals. We produce and sell pure metals. We guarantee high quality and timely delivery to our customers. Formed in the ice fields of the Arctic, these polar treasures are transformed into the basis of the global economy. They reinforce our reputation and authority as a reliable partner. Norilsk Nickel, a Russian company.
Спасибо. Прошу включить презентацию.
Thank you. Can you please run my presentation?
Коллеги, презентация видна?
Colleagues, can you see my presentation? Well, you can start talking, I think. Yeah. Yes, the presentation is coming up. Once again, I would like to thank the distinguished governor and colleagues for the opportunity to speak to this high-level meeting. Coal and mining metallurgical company is a key industrial asset of Norilsk Nickel in Russia's northwest. This is Russia's only producer of electrolytic nickel and cobalt. We are the largest taxpayer and employer of the Murmansk region, and we are also the main industry in 3 municipalities of the region, that is Nickel, Zapolyarny, where our mine and concentration factory are located, and Monchegorsk, where our refining assets are located. We continue to work on reducing our environmental impact. So the company has gone a very long way in the implementation of environmental investment programs. So this slide shows the reductions of coal mining metallurgical companies' emissions of sulfur dioxide as the most negative environmental factor. We have achieved more than 20-time reduction of emissions of sulfur dioxide over the years. In 2021, the company reconfigured its production assets in order to address its environmental performance. In the end of 2020, we closed a smelting shop in Nickel, and in 2021 we stopped copper production in Monchegorsk. So thus we reduced sulfur dioxide emissions in 2021 compared to 2015. In parallel, we retrained and our people that worked at phased out facilities, and we also addressed the issue of future sustainable development in the Pechenga district and Monchegorsk, given the new conditions. Development and support of the areas where we are present is a key priority for us. We implement a lot of projects and programs, such as establishment of agencies of city development in Monchegorsk and Pechenga district, and also development of social economic development programs in the Pechenga district, which is now worth 9.8 billion rubles. If we look into the future, in June, the board of Norilsk Nickel adopted its ecology and climate change strategy, and we will focus on 6 priority areas, that is climate, air, water, tailings and waste, land and biodiversity. All these focus areas make up the program of activities for our Kola branch, Kola division. Here you can see the targets for Kola divisions in terms of environment and climate. We have 172 activities to 2031. with a total value of more than 54 billion rubles. Some of these activities are already ongoing. International auditors have made a positive assessment of companies' efforts. So among the key targets, we can say reducing sulfur dioxide emissions by 130,000 tons. And this is what we already achieved in 2021, reduction of greenhouse emissions by using renewable energy, also reclamation of more than 600 hectares of damaged lands. Currently, Kola MMC is about to make an environmental breakthrough. We would like to establish an environmentally friendly copper refining center in Monchegorsk. We have already embarked on this project and plan to complete it in 2021. So we will build this facility from scratch, building on the best technological achievements of today. So we will have almost a 2-time productivity increase, but at the same time, we will reduce an 87-time reduction of sulfur dioxide emissions, and we will have at least 99.5% extraction. So yes, thank you very much. We do see that you have very ambitious targets. We can only wish you success in achieving them. And now we have Stefan Zvigintsov, General Director of Enel Russia, on the line. Can you hear us? Yes, good afternoon, dear colleagues. I hope that you can both hear and see me. Yes, we sure do. The floor is yours. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank Andrei Chibis and the organizers for the opportunity to speak at this important session. I would like to also welcome the ambassadors of the Arctic states who have joined this event today. Please run my presentation, but while it is coming up, I would like to say that I am the head of Enel in Russia, but it is Europe's largest energy giant. Its installed capacity now is about 90,000 megawatt. We work in 32 countries, including in Russia, and we've been present in Russia for more than 20 years. And our EBITDA is 17 billion euros, and we can say that Enel is a pioneer of energy transition and guided by the climate agenda. So it's important that today we discuss both global goals and what we do here in the Murmansk region. Thank you. So then Enel focuses on low carbon development, on renewable energy. So we gradually phase out our carbon generation, but energy transition is not limited to replacement of dirty generation by clean generation. We are also working on energy efficient solutions and also on electrifications. So anything that has to do with sustainable development, in particular with the reduction of negative environmental impact from our industrial or business activities. Like just today, our group presented its new business plan for 2022-24, and the company plan to have carbon neutrality by 2050. Now move this target to the left. So now we aim to be carbon neutral by 2040. So we aim to expand our renewables from 10,000 megawatt by another 84,000 megawatts in order to triple our green portfolio, renewable portfolio by 2030. And it will require huge investment, 85 billion euros, and it will be very important in supporting the energy transition. We've been present in Russia for more than 15 years. We are Italy's largest investor in Russia. We have invested more than 200 billion rubles in the Russian market. And of course, we also transform our business in the context of energy transition and green agenda. We have Enel Russia, which is currently primarily a heat generating company. We have gas-fired plants, and we are upgrading them in order to reduce their environmental impact and their resource consumption. So you can see that we are investing 11 billion rubles in that. The most important aspect for Enel Russia is now to develop renewable energy in Russia. We are taking it step by step. We don't have any ambitious plans, but we will continue increasing our portfolio. We have invested about 500 million euros in the construction of 3 wind parks, and in particular in our largest project is in the Murmansk region. And number 3 is to give Russian energy and transport sector green solutions. And it is important that in the Murmansk region we develop both renewables and contribute to development of green transport. Our largest investment project today is the construction of Kola wind and power plant. It is located in the Murmansk region, near Teribirka and Tumanny. Here you can see the key parameters of the project: 200 megawatt, 57 windmills. So we expect to produce 750 gigawatt hours per year. So that will save about 600,000 tons of CO2 per year. So this plant will be put into operation in 2022. We are now in active construction phase, and we use the technologies that minimize resource use and waste generation, and in close cooperation with local communities. So in 22, the region will have another source of carbon-free energy for the needs of large in energy-intensive industries that need low carbon energy. Once we build the wind park is not a goal in itself, but we are talking about establishing a completely new ecosystem. And today we are working on a pilot project to start the production of green hydrogen using the energy from Kola wind park. Even though this project is in its very initial phase, but it is Russia's only green hydrogen project in Russia, and it is being implemented in the Murmansk region. So next slide, please. So before we move to this slide, just a few words about why we are implementing this challenging project in the Murmansk region. First of all, the wind potential is gigantic, and wind measurements show that we can surely produce planned volumes of energy, and Kola wind park only uses part of this wind potential of the region. And I will just give you two examples. And this project has a status of a strategic investment project of the Murmansk region, and that is very important. And also, we signed a social investment contract as part of this project. And what is important is that we have set up our northernmost charging station for electric cars. It's probably not the world's northernmost, but it's the northernmost for us. And it's in Teribirka, so people who drive to Teribirka, they will know that they will be able to charge their car there. So yeah, and it's a location that will be part of the Barents Baltic Electric Road that is currently emerging as we speak. And I do hope that this charging station will not be our last contribution to the development of electric transport in the Arctic. And in conclusion, I would like to show you a very short video of 1 minute and 40 seconds. When I said that Kola wind plant is in active phase of construction, we already installed more than half of our windmills, but I would really like you to see a short video of how this work is being done. Thank you very much, Mr. Zvegentsov. Yes, we'll just wait for your video.
Спасибо большое.
Спасибо, Юрий.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Yuri. I just want to say that in conclusion, the Arctic and the Murmansk region in particular, that is offering a multitude of opportunities to our company to implement its strategy, and we see a huge potential for growth in green shift paradigm. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to feel the scale of forthcoming changes. You know that in the room that we have a person who listened very attentively during this session. It says Norway's Consul General in Murmansk. So all of those of us who are present here, we would very much be interested to hear a view of an outsider. You've been here from 2018. What do you see? Do you think the environment is the urban environment is becoming more comfortable, or what changes do you see? Thank you, Governor, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. First of all, I would like to thank the governor for the invitation of the Norwegian Consulate General in Murmansk is always interested in taking part in these very relevant events in Murmansk. But now, please allow me to switch to English.
The history of the Norwegian Consulate General is closely associated with the history of the Barents Council. A few years ago, we celebrated 25 years of successful cooperation between Norway and Russia, and we will soon, that is in 2023, celebrate 30 years of what may be described as a close-knitted friendship across borders. 30 years is an entire generation. And those who have grown up during these years, they see our friendship and successful cooperation not as a small political miracle, but rather as the self-evident solution for our region. Nowhere is this more visible than in the border area between Russia and Norway, where the population benefits from a facilitation regime for visas, the so-called border crossing cards. Needless to say, the population on both sides of the border are now impatient for the pandemic to end so that they can resume normal life with family on both sides of the border and, of course, to establish new contacts. The success of the Barents cooperation relies not only on the governmental level, but maybe even more so on the unique, direct, and highly valuable dialogue between our regions. The future of our oceans, of the climate, of the environment, as well as the concern for sustainable development are on the agenda all around the world. These challenges are no different here in the Arctic, but we do share valuable tools to handle these issues. I can only echo Ambassador Resaland, who pointed out the importance for Norway of both the Barents Council and the Arctic Council. I might add that we truly support the plans presented by the Russian chairmanship of the Arctic Council, and we will, to the extent possible, from the Norwegian Consulate General in Murmansk, participate in a maximum of events, as well as work to ensure participation from Norwegian specialists. I believe the focus of us all here today is not only to assure a continued sustainable development in the North in the foreseeable future, but even more so for future generations. Our common challenge is, and will for a long time continue to be, to offer attractive cities like Murmansk, jobs, cultural activities, and resourceful social frameworks to the population in the Arctic. So they are not only enticed to come for a short period, but also convinced to stay. The Arctic, as experienced by the Nordic countries and by Russia, is in no way any ice-cold desert, as nations further south might believe, but rather dynamic, high-tech societies focusing on opportunities for the future. The world's interest for the Arctic is growing, but alas, the knowledge of the region is unfortunately meager. It is therefore important for all of us to share our knowledge far beyond our Arctic region, so that not only will we make our young population wish to stay or return from their studies, but also so that we will attract others to come north and participate in the development of the region. The key issue will be to balance industrial development against the protection of the environment, but I am convinced that with the assistance of our scientists, this common goal will be reached. I already mentioned the Arctic youth, and I will mention them again, because in the Arctic region is fortunate to have a young generation who is committed to a greener future. They are not indifferent to the policies we discuss on the government level. During my time here in Murmansk, I have met so many talented and resourceful young people, whether they represent the Barents Youth Council, Chistaya Arktika, indigenous youth organizations, or others. And we see the same picture in all the Nordic countries. These enthusiasts are the key to the future of the Arctic, and it is important that we make use of their enthusiasm, that we listen to them, and that we involve them. And what I have seen since I came to Murmansk 4 years ago almost, is that Murmansk is changing rapidly, and I believe it is thanks to the initiatives taken now under the new program, especially the 2 last years maybe, and also thanks to the involvement of the youth. I came to Murmansk for the first time in 1998, and after that I came back several times before I entered my post in 2018. And each time I came back, I came to a new city. It changed all the long. But I believe the changes we have seen the last years have been in double speed. What I myself has experienced is that the city is becoming more colorful. The facades are being renovated, which makes for very pleasant public spaces. And also the public areas in the parks are being developed. There are more flowers in Murmansk than before. And not least, what is very nice to see are all the playgrounds, safe playgrounds, colorful playgrounds for children in all the different various areas in the city. So when we discuss attractive cities, I think that Murmansk is on the way, and I'm very optimistic for the future of Murmansk. Thank you.
Спасибо большое, госпожа Стретнерум.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nerum. And it is very important for us to perceive this vision from a person who comes from another country, to see this change. And thank you very much for your willingness to cooperate. Now, dear friends, we are supposed to move on to the section 2 and section 3. And now everyone must be eager to present everything and everyone, but please follow the schedule. Sadly, you can only have now barely 2 minutes, and that's it.
So, of course, it's an interesting topic, and I think everybody will support the idea of merging the 2 sessions, because we have used more that time than we planned. So if you allow me, I have another video conference on schedule. And then my Arctic deputy, Olga Kuznetsova, will replace me. So we will now move to section 3. Or we'll talk about the northern cities first, if you don't mind. So we will continue with the subject that Astrid Nerum touched upon. We will now talk about the experiences of developing cities in the Arctic zone. So I'll give the floor back to you with the presentation of new Murmansk project. Of course, this outsider's view is very important, because our overall goal that we achieved in 2020 is to create conditions for the economic potential. And we see new investors and jobs that are coming up. And another key thing for us is development of human resources, education and training. And this is not an easy task. We have now started upgrading our universities and vocational schools in order to train people that are needed by our regional economy and other Arctic regions. And this is not an easy task, but luckily we get support from private investors, from our largest taxpayers. We have signed an agreement with Novatech for 6 billion rubles worth of investments in social sphere. That's in addition to the taxes that we already get from them. So our key investment area is education, and our technical university is already getting money for upgrading its equipment and laboratories and education environment. Likewise, our partners in the Rilsknikkel, Fosagro, and Rosatom invest in the education system in order also to train people for their own needs. And the third thing, which is of principal importance, as my colleague said, and we already discussed it today, we really try to change the urban environment. We do invest in modern urban spaces. We renovate facades of the buildings. We make new lighting, but we are not limiting this effort to just Murmansk. Of course, Murmansk, as the capital of the region, is an area of dedicated attention. We make additional investments here because we understand that given that this was neglected since 1990s, and then we have to make a quantum leap to the new economy in order to attract young people here. And it's not enough to just create jobs. People will not, young people will not come to work for big money if they don't have good social environment. Because good professionals can find high-paying jobs in Moscow or St. Petersburg. So we need to offer both high wages, and we need an adequate environment for people to live in, and we need to offer them something so that the young people like the Arctic, so they come here to realize themselves, but also they live in interesting conditions, so they are on the they are not in some backward area. And I agree that the Arctic is underestimated. So we see that people in Moscow, St. Petersburg find out that Murmansk is only 2 hours away from Moscow by plane. So a large number of people, of residents of our capitals, are shocked to find out that the Arctic is only 2 hours away by air. So one project that we plan to implement next year, I just want to show it to you in terms of where we're going for the so we have this classic infrastructure here, the architecture here that was restored after World War II, but I just want to show you what the future holds. Of course, Murmansk is, I think everybody already knows that Murmansk is the world's largest city north of the Arctic Circle, and the Soviet Union was the only country capable of building and maintaining such a large city. So we are talking of a former shipyard. It is now used as a pier, and some buildings here are used. And to the right, you can see icebreaker Lenin. So it's no longer operational as a shipyard, and it's a unique place. It's in the center of the city, and it's next door to the sea terminal, and here we also have the world's first nuclear icebreaker Lenin, which is now used as a museum. So it's a really unique place. It's 13 hectares, and it's a 10-minute walk to the central square, and there is a pedestrian walkway, and that is used by the people. And in the past, people who worked at this shipyard, they used this bridge to get to their job in the morning and get back in the evening. So as part of our agreement with WebRF and the Ministry of for the development of the Far East and the Arctic, and personally with the interest with the minister Alexei Chikunkov, who has a personal interest in this project. So we, together with the Strelka Design Bureau, we developed a master plan, and it's just not visuals, but it's also about functionality, and it's about we also calculated the costs, and the St. Petersburg Economic Forum, we signed an agreement for the launch of this project together with the Ministry for the Development of the Far East, WebRF, and Corporation for the Development of the Far East and the Arctic. And we already had our application approved for 3.4 infrastructure budget loan for 15 years at a very low interest rate in order to build infrastructure for this project. So this is the project reference. First of all, the bridge that you saw earlier, this is not just, this is going to become a unique around the year theme park indoor that will run over the railways, and in the end there will be the Museum of the Arctic, where one will be able to know everything about the Arctic. And of course we are going to have offices there. We'll have a Congress Center for large-scale international and national events. We'll have apartment complexes, hotels, restaurants, and hotels with the fish market in order to enjoy the Arctic cuisine. We'll also have an apartment complex and a spa complex. So it'll be a unique place, but very functional, both for those who work in the region and for those who live in the region, because currently people in Murmansk don't have an embankment, even though we live on the coast of the Kola Bay. So we need to give people of the city an opportunity to come here to try Arctic cuisine, to attend a concert, or to visit a museum. So there's a lot of functionality in this place. And of course, this is new jobs, and we expect that it will be visited by almost 2 million people annually. So that will give our city a new lease of life. So, and we don't know of any similar redevelopment projects in the Arctic anywhere in the world. So the project will be broken down into 2 phases, the first of which should be completed by 2025 and the second by 2030. So, and we have also made a calculation of the target audience. So this is what we have in mind when we plan this public space here in Murmansk, the world's largest city north of the Arctic Circle. This is no longer a concept. This is a project which has been well developed and calculated, and we are embarking on its implementation. And it'll be a challenge, but this is a very ambitious task, because we need to create urban environment of a different level to make it interesting for the young people to be in the Arctic, to be in Murmansk. And Murmansk region is a development area, and it's a place to attract young, ambitious young people from all over the country. So this is the plan that we try to follow And we, of course, invite partners from Russia and beyond to invest in this project. Thank you very much, Governor Chibis, for sharing these ambitious plans with us. Are you still with us, or do you have to run? Yeah, well, of course, we will we'll be happy to keep you here, but if you need to go, please feel free. Once again, I would like to thank everyone who is participating. I assume there will be some discussions in the sidelines after that. So, and I would like to thank you very much for your attention. So, dear participants, I have a proposal that we to finish this section, and we will have 4 more speakers. We now have Mayor of Akureyri, Astildur Sturludotir. Can you hear us?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
Отлично, мы вас тоже слышим.
Great, we can hear you as well. So, greetings from Murmansk. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Governor, Excellencies, dear friends. In the next few minutes, I would like to talk about the importance of close cooperation, personal ties, strong solidarity, and the importance of building a close-knit network of people in the Arctic who truly have so many common interests. Those issues are all core attributes of the Arctic Mayors Forum, the organization of about 20 cities and municipalities in the Arctic region that aim at giving local governments a strong voice in the development of the Arctic. Countless number of organizations and associations dealing with every angle of Arctic matters have been founded in recent years. Most are in their essence working in higher level of government, and I am in no way going to undermine their importance. But what distinguishes and sets the AMF apart from all other organizations is our closeness to our roots, and the keyword we have in focus here today, cooperation, and even more cooperation. The governance of towns and municipalities is the closest you can get to the residents and the people themselves. You should never underestimate the importance of full consultation with the people of the Arctic on all decisions that affect their interests. We want to work with the grassroots to protect our environment in the Arctic and the development of our areas. That's why we in the AMF hold up the high slogan, "Nothing about us without us." For decades, we have had a remarkably good cooperation on different levels. For example, through Nordic Association, and they have turned out to be of great importance, not the least in the spheres of cultural matters and youth programs. In this way, we bring nations and ethnic groups closer together, promote better communications, and strive to eliminate prejudice. Our Nordic cooperation has demonstrated how important it is that we have to work together on all levels. And with the Arctic Mayors Forum, we emphasize that can be done if we take close cooperation to the level of local government. For the past 2 years, the whole world has been battling a common enemy, the COVID-19 pandemic. We have had to take various emergency measures which have already, strangely enough, brought us closer to each other and made us rethink the solutions we use to solve different problems. The use of digital technology and online meetings have made communication between us much more effective. It has cut travel costs, really made traveling unnecessary, but at the same time made us more available for each other. One can seek advice from colleagues all around the Arctic without much notice or hassle. That way we can know each other better personally, which in turn makes it easier to pick up the phone or meet with short notice on Teams to talk about how to solve problems in the operation of our municipalities. A good and concrete example has surfaced now when we in my municipality of Akureyri are planning the budget for next year. in a very tight and demanding situation because of the pandemic. I've had good conversation about this with my colleagues in other Arctic countries and received good advice and support on what can be done better and how it can be done. No big fuss about it. We know each other and can seek good advice in an informal but confident way. I believe the things we have learned in this COVID crisis will bring us closer together. Working closely with other people online has become so easy, and it does not really matter if they are in the next room or 1,000 miles away. This development will give us a great chance to enhance the cooperation between everyone living close to the Arctic. That way, we can learn from each other and at the same time protect and safeguard our mutual interests. It is clear that we must move fast forward and embrace the digital solutions. Implementation of new digital systems can be quite costly, but we must not let the COVID crisis stop us, because this development is very important for all of our future communications, especially for the peripheral areas and those of us who live close to the Arctic. COVID-19 has forced us to make better use of new technology, and the new technology has brought us closer together. Everything is changing, nothing is permanent. Evolution is driven by changes, and people in the Arctic are facing great challenges with changes in the weather systems and changes in the nature as a result of global warming. Cooperation is of higher value now than ever before. Therefore, as the chairman of the Arctic Mayors Forum, I urge all communities and municipalities, towns and cities around the Arctic to join us in the fight to protect our environment and homelands and to protect our common interests. In particular, I would like to encourage our friends from all over the vast and mighty Russia to join us. We need people from all over the Arctic in our ranks. Together we stand, divided we fall. Dear friends of the Arctic, history has shown us how close cooperation, personal ties, strong solidarity, and close-knit network of people with the same interests can change the world and make all the difference when facing big challenges. Let's work together. Thank you.
Спасибо. Спасибо, такая зажигательная речь.
Well, thank you. Your speech was tremendously bright, I would say. And now it makes me even willing to work more and more. So thank you very much. Now we have some presentations left, and now I address the speakers. Please follow the schedule and try to keep it as short as possible, no more than 2 minutes. Now I would like to give the stage to Svetlana Ozhgova, the Deputy Director of the 2nd European Department of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia. Svetlana, are you here? Please, you're welcome to the stage.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak, dear colleagues, dear participants of today's session. We are very pleased that the Russian initiative for the establishment of a regional high-level forum that was put forward during Russia's chairmanship in the Barents Council of 2015-2017 has now been implemented in the format of the session, which has now become a regular. So regional contacts remain an important arena for dialogue with Nordic partners. Barents cooperation is the most successful cooperation format in the north of Europe, and demonstrating good immunity to fluctuations in political relations. So this two-level structure of Barents cooperation allows to combine the interests of the states with needs of specific regions. Special place in this two-tier structure is taken by Barents Regional Council. In October, Västerbotten passed the chairmanship in the regional council to Nenets Autonomous Okrug, and we are convinced that Nenets chairmanship will focus on the development of Barents cooperation, and we view the Nenets chairmanship in conjunction with Russia's chairmanship in the Barents Euro-Arctic Council in 2023-2025. So it is the first time we met for the first time after 2 years of the pandemic in Tromsø in October at the 18th ministerial session, and we acknowledge progress that had been made, completion of the renewed Barents Action Plan, Barents Climate Action Plan, and also adoption of the document for the Barents financial mechanism, so which will be launched next year. It will be an opportunity to finance projects implemented by Barents working groups. It's important to continue our efforts in the Barents Council in logistics, environment and climate change, and common response to emergencies and support of youth cooperation. We share the priorities of Finnish chairmanship in the Barents Council: sustainable development, people-to-people contacts, and collaboration in transport and logistics. We believe it is just as important to have close cooperation within the entire North European region. Also, in various intergovernmental organizations and Northern Dimension partnerships, Sergei Lavrov, speaking at the 18th Ministerial in Tromsø, proposed to renew the practice of meeting Northern formats on the political level. So we should think about large scale through initiatives. In 2 years, Russia will chair 2 regional organizations, BIAC and the Council of Baltic Sea States. We will focus on applied nature of the activities of both councils. We will focus on the improvement of quality of life in the north, and we plan to support the priority areas in these formats. And it will, to a large extent, it will be a continuation of our current efforts in the Arctic Council chairmanship. The Barents region is often viewed as part of the larger Arctic, and there is a trend that is being diluted in bigger formats of cooperation. Unfortunately, there is not enough awareness of this regional model of cooperation, and this needs to be taken care of. We are convinced that today's session is yet another step to strengthen cooperation in the Arctic, and we do hope that the Barents cooperation will not only retain its dynamics, but will get a new boost in order to keep the north of Europe as an area of stability, peace, and good neighborhood. Thank you very much. And I would like to give the floor to Jari-Pekka Olavi-Vilin, head of the Committee of Senior Officials of Barents Euro-Arctic Council from the Finnish Foreign Ministry.
Thank you much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for giving this opportunity to address in the very end of the meeting. I feel like the Barents cooperation is like a sweet dessert of the discussion that we'll be having this afternoon. I think it's actually very easy to continue what my colleague Svetlana Oshigova said to here, because it's very easy to agree everything what she said. I was thinking with this short time what we have available for these discussions, and I sincerely hope that in the next session the Barents could have a bigger role, because the Barents is the grassroots. Barents is the grassroots movement of the cooperation what we do. And if I would have to define in a short elevator ride with Asthildur when she's able to travel from the Iceland to our meetings physically, hopefully in the future, what would I say her in 15 seconds or 20 seconds? I would say to her that the Barents cooperation in the Arctic context is the concrete action by the people for the people. It means cooperation between sports clubs, between the schools, between the people who can cross the borders, who can physically finally eventually cross the borders, meet each other again, and have a common ideas. Because what we have is the common challenges, and what we need is also having a common solutions. And what has been described here by Finnish ambassador previously today in the sessions, and actually what the Svetlana you said about Finnish priorities absolutely correctly, these challenges are the same. And I think what was demonstrated in Norway, in this successful meeting. Well, once again, thank you for Norway for being able to transfer this cooperation to the digital and hybrid format, which unfortunately we are forced to use like in today, and we don't know how long this format has to be in there. But this meeting was a proof of consensus. This meeting was a proof of good common willingness to address the challenges concerning the environment, challenges concerning the sparsely populated areas and people-to-people meeting needs, and also the challenges of transportation and logistics. And what Finland presidency aims for is looking for the synergies between the Russian Arctic Council presidency and our presidency, synergies in the field of Northern Dimension policies that we have, and synergies that can find a common solution from the grassroots to the higher level and to the broader context that what we have in there. I just mentioned a few issues as an examples, and then hopefully we have a chance to continue this in another format. Finland will be focusing, for example, especially fight against the alien species, which are extremely important and challenging when we're trying to preserve the biodiversity of the Arctic. We hope that we can ask all of you join with us. And I was interested to see also that the challenges concern the electrification of the transportation system. This will also be one of the issues. We should and we must be able to also have electrification transport system in the high north and the northernmost challenging areas what we have. And we should not forget about the youth and youngsters, their specific role, and not the indigenous people and their specific needs what we have there. All of this will be part of our common agenda. Looking forward very much to physically come to the Murmansk to be able to meet you. And I can guarantee and I can promise to you that when we come into Murmansk, I also hope that my minister will be coming with me, and he will be leading the delegation discussing about the common project and also common investments that we can discuss together there. And also, I sincerely hope that we have a chance to meet physically and in other formats in the future for having the tete-a-tete discussions and dialogue with each other of the challenges that we're facing. So that's just few words. Thank you on the behalf of the Finnish presidency for these opportunities. Looking forward to meeting you and looking forward to having more detailed discussion about cooperation, what we can do together in the Barents context.
Спасибо большое. Мы тоже с нетерпением ждем не только цифровых встреч.
And we also wait not only the digital meetings, but of course physical, the ones you have mentioned. And the last presentation for today will be done by the governor of the Nenets Autonomous District, Tatiana Lagvinenko. Please, welcome to the stage.
Good afternoon, dear participants. Nenets Autonomous Okrug, as a chair of the Barents Regional Council in 2021-23, will focus on the following priority areas. This is transport accessibility, transborder mobility, diversification and environmental sustainability of the economy, improvement of the quality of life and development of human capital. Also, the region decided that overarching topic will be overcoming the remotedness and lack of accessibility of the area. So we will make a special focus on remote areas. During its chairmanship, the Nenets Autonomous Okrug will develop dialogue with other organizations and cooperation formats in the north. And we will also facilitate in personal contacts. In the north, we lack transport and communication infrastructure, and we have large distances and harsh climate, and that limits access of people living in remote communities to goods and services. And it also creates high costs and in the implementation of common projects and programs of Barents Euro-Arctic Council. And we also need to pay special attention to the indigenous peoples, and we need to exchange experience of remote communications, especially in the social sector, in healthcare and education. We will promote innovative technologies in construction, waste management, electricity generation. We will work on increasing the competitiveness of small and medium-sized businesses and providing assistance for the local businesses to enter regional and national and international markets. The Arctic and the Barents region are in the focus of global attention. We are talking about development of global information infrastructure, and it opens great opportunities for social and economic development of the northern regions. In order to strengthen Barents cooperation within the Arctic context, we need common efforts to improve the infrastructure of interregional collaboration. We need to improve connectivity for goods, people, and knowledge. We have active dialogue on the establishment of effective transport system, and this collaboration needs to be continued by focusing on promoting practical initiatives to improve quality and quantity of road and rail connections in west-east direction. We need to work on development of air connections between large centers of the Barents region. Given the high potential of shipping in the Arctic, it is extremely important to improve infrastructure of northern ports, develop transport and logistics services, introduce digital solutions. We also need to increase our emergency preparedness in the Arctic Ocean. Regular contacts between the people are an important condition of sustainable development of economic, humanitarian, cultural, scientific, and other times. We need to continue dialogue on reciprocal simplification of visa procedures in the Barents region. We need to facilitate development of contacts and collaboration at different levels, including regional and local authorities. The Barents region is dependent on global markets, and that creates risks for the local industries, and we also have a limited job markets. So the Netherlands Autonomous Okrug aims to increase collaboration on issues of increasing economic efficiency of traditional industries and agriculture, as well as to the development of new industries for the sustainable development of local communities, especially the communities of indigenous peoples. We need a regular exchange of experience on introduction of modern technology. We need to develop infrastructure and in-depth of processing of forest resources, agricultural products. And one of the promising sectors in the Barents economy is tourism. The region attracts tourists by its unique Arctic nature, harsh climate, and rich cultural and historic heritage. But at the same time, tourism is very vulnerable and dependent on many external factors, which was proven by the coronavirus pandemic. In order to turn the tourism into a reliable source of income, it is important to jointly take action to develop hospitality infrastructure, to diversify tourism offers, and promote different types of tourism. And we also need to develop and implement joint products to increase competitiveness of this area on the global tourism market. A potential growth point for the Barents region is clean and cold climate technologies, which require interdisciplinary and multi-level dialogue between science, industry, small and medium-sized businesses, authorities, and the most important area of cooperation in the Barents region is environmental safety during industrial and other activities. So, minerals extraction and development of infrastructure in the Barents region increase anthropogenic degradation of soil, and ecosystem restoration requires exchange of experience and active actions, especially in areas that are especially vulnerable, such as the Arctic. And then Nenets Autonomous Okrug aims to develop dialogue and create a cooperation network to restore Arctic ecosystems and increase awareness of all stakeholders. And that will be our contribution to climate change mitigation and adaptation. Also in the Barents region, we see a trend of out-migration, especially among young people and able-bodied people. And to overcome this negative trend, we need to invest in human capital. We need to expand possibilities for self-realization. We have implemented a number of successful joint projects in healthcare, and we need to expand this experience and involve territories of the Barents region into cooperation on healthcare and promoting new forms of medical assistance. We have an active inter-regional dialogue in education and culture, which must be continued. We need to provide comprehensive support to joint projects and initiatives that aim to increase accessibility and availability of education. We need to develop joint programs for training of people for the Arctic areas. We need to work on continuous education, preserve and promote cultural heritage, work on the preservation and tradition of the indigenous languages. Special attention must be given to comprehensive development of young people. We need to support educational, humanitarian, and cultural youth exchanges. During its chairmanship, Nenets Autonomous Okrug proposes to talk about creating comfortable conditions in comfortable urban environments in the Barents region. There is a great potential in the development of creative industries, is one of the key sectors of contributing to social and economic development. We need joint actions in order to assess the potential of the creative sector and develop mechanisms for systemic support of young talents, of small and medium-sized businesses, and innovations in the cultural field. And creating products for commercialization. Thank you. I took a little bit more time. You know, after such a presentation, I immediately wanted to fly to Nenets to see how you are implementing your plans. Thank you very much. I would like to thank all the speakers, those who were present here in person, those who were connecting remotely. I would like to thank the organizers. We've heard a lot of nice words and a lot of right words. And if somebody tried to count how many times we said Arctic today, we would probably lose count. I really want our ambitious plans to be implemented. And of course, it's important to have good health, regardless of whether you are in the Arctic or in any other climate. Because if you're healthy, you can do anything. Thank you.